So today is a very special video because we're going to talk about succulent mutations. And one of the ones that I own, and I think it's the only one that I own, is this Crested Jennifer. It's an Echeveria Jennifer. And I was really wondering, like, how did it come to be? Like, why are these plants so unusual, and what makes them unusual? And then I was researching, and it's actually these plants are actually called crestate or crestade, whatever, however you pronounce that. Maybe somebody can tell me, but it is kind of a cresting, and it happens when one single growing point, the growth center of the plant, creates more growing points. Like it kind of is like, if you're thinking about human beings, it's kind of like triplets and quadruplets, something like that. So it's kind of an anomaly, and it's really interesting because they don't grow the way a normal succulent would grow, because they have like a bunching effect, and then their stem is in one. It's all together. It's not just one round stem. It's actually flat. So I was fortunate enough to be able to find one that was sold to me. Actually, thinking about it, I bought it at Walmart, and I was really, really fortunate. But taking care of it, it's kind of a different ball of wax altogether. So I've noticed that because it's so top heavy, that when it grows higher, it just like bends over and wants to fall down because it's top heavy, and then it starts to grow roots and attaches themselves to the ground below. So it starts, that's how they propagate, I believe. And so I took one part of it and I moved it to a different part of the garden, thinking that it might thrive more under the sun, like direct sun. But I guess it's kind of struggling right now, but it's really not dying. It's just going through the motions of protecting itself in the summertime. But then in the wintertime, it starts to grow. However, I'm kind of concerned because it's growing really slow, unlike the one that I have under the shade during the summertime. That one is kind of thriving. It kept its nice deep purple magenta color, but the other one is kind of shriveling up, and the little ones are even more suffering more from the heat of the summer and the sun. So this fall, I'm going to move them in the front yard. Since I have a fence now, I'm more comfortable now because it's pretty much protected at the moment. So I love talking about this because I'm going to show you the actual Echeveria Jennifer that's not crested, and it's huge. Like, the leaves get so big, and I have a lot of Echeverias that I want to move to the front because there's a part of the garden that's really shady, and it only gets like maybe 4 hours of sun. And I'm really interested in finding out if they're going to just like go crazy and just get huge. And one of those ones is the really deep colored dark magenta Jennifer with leaves that are really thick. You can see how thick these leaves are, and I'll explain more in a little bit. But I don't think I'm going to sell any more Jennifers. Whoever I sold it to before, you're pretty lucky because I'm I'm starting to think that I should hold on to these things because they're, until I find out how they really act, because it's been 2 years, but it's really, I really don't know much about them. I really need to research more, and then once I get it propagated a lot, then I'm gonna start to sell some of these plants. So the other day I come out here and this Jennifer was like almost laying on the ground. It was so heavy up here that it was just, the weight of it is too much with that little skinny stem down there. So I tried to figure out how to prop it back up. I added some more soil. If you can imagine, there's probably 2 more inches of soil that I added on top of that. But the soil by itself was not able to sustain the weight of the top here. And maybe eventually I will cut back some of these branches, but it's so beautiful that I don't really want to disturb it at all. I have to make a decision pretty soon, but in the meantime, there's a temporary fix to it. This is one of those plastic things that you put in the ground to hold like cantaloupe and like melons off the ground when they're growing. So I decided to put one of those and then prop this up with a big rock for now until I figure out what to do with it. Probably going to have to really trim it, you know, take some more branches out of it. This is the Crested Echeveria Jennifer. This is the first time I've ever encountered some problem like this. Everything else is being held up, but the bottom is so skinny. Like, look, if you check it out, check out that skinny, very skinny stem. Come on. Go around here. It's like a V. So, you know, I don't know. It's the first time I ever encountered, but it seems like it's working for now until I figure out what to do with it. And then I'll just give you an update soon about what I did. There is an update of the last video. So I replanted this in ground, and this time, sorry about the finger, if you look down there, it is deep, 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 deep. See it? And even that deep, the roots are coming out right here. You know, so I'm trying to cover it as much as I can. But I'm pretty sure now this is going to hold up. This is probably going to go snake around here. Like that. So that's it. There's my update for the oh, and plus I replanted it here somewhere where it is a different location in my garden. It was over there, the original plant, and now it's here on the side. This one gets morning to mid-afternoon sun, but after that it goes over to where I was pointing at. And then I'll show you what's left of the Echeveria Crested Jennifer on the original location. Look at my Jennifer right here. It kind of like bent over all the way down to the soil and then started to grow its roots, which I'm pretty happy about, because that just means that I don't have to replant it anywhere in the garden. It just did it on its own. It just, but I noticed on the other side where I planted it, it was doing the same thing. It was doing this long stem and then kind of getting top heavy. So I guess, I mean, I'm just guessing that that's exactly how they need to not only to propagate, but that's exactly how they act in the normal natural setting. They just take care of themselves. I mean, you know, we really don't have to do anything with them. But look, just gonna show you. See how there's roots there? And it's just now attaching itself to the bottom where the soil is. So I'm not even gonna touch it. I'm just gonna let her do her thing. So guys, I was racking my brains about where this came from and what's the name of it. Oh my gosh, look at the birds, what the birds are doing to my plant. Ugh. I don't know, do you guys have any suggestions whatsoever on how to prevent the birds from coming and eating all my plants without having to cover it? I don't know. What would deter them? Okay, so I was racking my brain trying to figure out where did this come from. I'm like, I can't remember. It's not a volunteer. It's not something that I bought somewhere. But then I looked at, so Instagram, I always post my pictures of my new plants and stuff. And I found out that this particular plant was a volunteer in my Crested Jennifer. So it is a Jennifer. And then I looked and I'm like, okay, it does have some of the characteristics of a Jennifer, but this is the one that's not crested. It's the uncrested Jennifer. So this is what the Jennifer looks like if it wasn't crested, and then this is what they look like when they're crested. And if you look at the leaves, they kind of have the same kind of color. Inside is green and then outside is purple. It's so amazing how these these plants are. It's just amazing. I mean, I'm in awe every day. Every time I look at them, I am just in awe. So that's the story, Morning Glory. And here's what's exciting about this. Look at that new growth right there. This one coming up. I can't wait. I love how big these things are. Or this thing is.